Murray is my name, and for the next 15 minutes or so I'll just go through the commissioning credits for LEED. This is LEED version 4, so the leadership in energy and environmental design. So we're going to focus on just the commissioning process credits in this. So why would you bother pursuing the credits for commissioning in the first place? Well, a lot from an end user and an owner perspective, a lot of these credits relate to the energy, the water, the tariffs, what we're actually paying for when we operate the buildings, and the durability of the building. It helps the owners get a better understanding from the design team and the contractor perspective, and vice versa, about assumptions that they've made. It helps the maintenance personnel and the operations get better data, get better information when the building is actually commissioned, and the ongoing life, and help to understand the capabilities of the building as it goes. And obviously it enhances the training that you can get, because you can get project-specific training throughout the process. And LEED have recognised this now since version 3, 2009. They've come to version 4 and have actually tripled the credits that's available. So it used to be about 2 credits for enhanced commissioning. Now there's a possibility to get 6. And if you're looking for an extra 4 credits to get from LEED Silver to LEED Gold, it starts to make sense. So the old patch you can see was LEED 2009. You had the fundamental and you had enhanced commissioning for 2 credits. Now there's actually fundamental plus 3 individual paths, which you can take all 3 or any one of the paths for commissioning. So you have enhanced commissioning. You have add additional of monitoring base to add an extra credit, and you can look at the envelope for the commissioning process for the envelope itself, and that'll give you another 2 credits, so a possibility of 6 credits. So who can actually be a commissioning authority for LEED? There's no specific accreditation. The closest LEED have come is there's a commissioning process management professional accreditation from LEED, but you know, it's not actually a prerequisite. So once you have document experience of 2 similar projects, right from conception, from the commissioning process, right from the design stage through to 10 months of occupation, you can actually qualify. It can be a qualified employee of the actual owner themselves, an independent consultant, or an independent subcontractor. Now, if you're only looking at fundamental commissioning, it can also be an impartial employee, or what they call a disinterested employee of the actual project itself, an independent subcontractor of the construction firm. In LEED 2009 version 3, if the project was less than 50,000 square meters, you could actually have it as a member of the design or the construction team for fundamental only. That's been reduced now to 20,000 square meters, or approximately 1,850 square meters for fundamental commissioning only. They can be an employee. The key part is that the commissioning authority will always report all their findings directly to the owner. They have to be independent with no conflict. So the actual process for LEED starts then through the initial design, there's the detailed design development, through the construction, and through owner occupation. So there's the 4 paths. If you're doing fundamental, there's certain specific requirements: enhanced path 1, monitoring based, or building envelope commissioning as well. The key part is get the commissioning authority on board early, engage them early, and if you're tendering it out, look for options in case the project doesn't go forward, so you can actually get them to construction phase and to tender phase then with each of the fundamental and enhanced options. So the owner will develop what they call the owner's project requirements, and then the design team will respond to that with a basis of design. These are 2 live documents that travel throughout the whole project. As design development proceeds, the initial commissioning plan is developed by the commissioning authority, and then there's a 50% review of the OP, or what they call the owner's project requirements, and the BOD and the project design. If you're going for any of the enhanced credits, this is the stage where the system's manual outline, which is the real benefit to the actual operator, starts to get prepared, and the training requirements get locked in. And the key part of all this is to make sure that you can get these requirements in at tender stage before the documents go out, because you can get that value. So again, the OPR and the BOD are continuously updated in this live process. As you progress then through construction, there's pre-functional inspections, which are carried out on site. And again, that's for fundamental and enhanced. And if you're going for enhanced, that's where there's technical reviews of all the submittals that come in. So the CXA, the commissioning authority, will review those technical submittals before they go through to the design team. And this is based on the energy and the water systems for the actual building. The construction checklists are then compiled for enhanced commissioning, and there's no point in reinventing them. It's not obliged that the CXA actually creates the construction checklist. An awful lot of the subcontractors have their own. It's a matter of making sure they're included into the commissioning plan itself, and obviously verifying that the test and balance reports are all completed. Then continuing through construction, there's a review once the checklists have been carried out by the subcontractors, verify that the performance tests have actually been occurred, and LEED will recommend doing a sampling-based testing rather than test everything, have a qualified sample base. All issues must be documented from a LEED perspective, regardless of whether it's fundamental or enhanced commissioning. The final systems manual then gets compiled, and a final commissioning report. If the commissioning plan is done properly, it actually forms the core of the final commissioning report. Then there's a verification process that all the training has occurred, and then you're into the final occupation of the facility itself. So once an addition for version 4 is that there's an operation and maintenance plan, and a lot of these are now becoming soft plans, which are linked to the operations CAFM programs or the computer-aided facilities management. So the guys who are actually maintaining the equipment have the key information right at the plant. Again, for enhanced, throughout the life of the project then, and there's a 10-month review, seasonal recommissioning, and a final systems manual is commissioned. And then, as I said, there's this ongoing commissioning plan for critical facilities that need to be commissioned through the process. So just some key points. If you're following the procedure for LEED, get the commissioning authority in as early as possible. They should be unbiased and no conflict of interest with the actual project, and LEED is trying to promote this more and more. The aim of the commissioning authority is not to work against the project team, it's actually to work with the contractors to try and catch errors at the earliest possible stage to help clarify understandings, and it's all for the benefit of the actual owner and the operator of the facility. It's really important from the LEED procedure to just maintain logs, and of course LEED loves photos, so photos continuously. So just some feedbacks then from certain projects. A lot of these will be university projects, and I said, oh, why would we bother? The key element is that the maintenance requirements, you get better documentation, you have a better understanding from the operations team of how the facility actually works, and that helps them unlock the capability of the building. I see someone has a 10-year payback. You would expect that it would be significantly greater than that. Quite often the commissioning authority pays for itself within the 10-month review period through commission savings, through energy optimization. It's getting more and more incorporated. However, you can see that there's still some negative feedback where certain people had said that the commissioning process wasn't actually met and there was still ongoing problems, and that's continued. What generally happens in these situations is that clear expectations of the testing and the balancing haven't been clarified right at the outside, and the testing procedure itself hasn't been thorough. Someone had also said that it's a very document-hungry process, and in a sense, for LEED fundamental commissioning, it really is. We would recommend, if possible, if you're going for fundamental, you get possibly 1 credit. For going for enhanced commissioning, you have the ability to go up for 6 credits. That's where, and it's not a huge amount of additional work, and it's actually the beneficial work to the operations team, the owner, and that's where the credits actually come in. So yes, for fundamental, it is quite document hungry, but for enhanced, it actually makes a significant difference. So there's some further information available on the LEED, the US BGC website. The documents are quite American, but actually there's very, very useful information in them. They're not all, they're around $30 for a lot of them, and some of the documents are actually free. So just as we talked about the importance of inspections, just some brief, as we have a small bit of time, some brief details. So this will be part of the inspections that will be carried out on a site. The inspector discovered that there's a run of pipes, all coordinated and everything was fine, but there's a metering arrangement for a heat meter above this section of pipes. So they actually, at this stage of the project, had them rerouted, which means that maintenance can continue into the project, and it makes it far, far easier at this stage rather than when the project is commissioned. Just some brief details then on the owner's project requirements. So it's to try and get an understanding of what the owner expects this project to come out as, and that's where, so it covers things like what their key objectives are, including their environmental objectives, what the building will be used for, or the facility will be used for, what the schedules of operation are, the volume of people you'd expect to have in it. And then the basis of design is not intended to be written for the design team. It really should just address variations and the codes they're specifically using, assumptions that the design team perhaps would have interpreted from the owner's project requirement. This is an opportunity to clarify a lot of these, and they have a specific narrative. So the commissioning authority reviews this both with the owner and the design team, and the aim is that they will continue to enhance the project. As I said, these are two live documents that live through the whole process. The commissioning plan itself has an overview and again is quite live. You will start the process right on at the design stage, and the key part from the owner is to make sure that they have all the contractors, the design team, the contractor at tender stage, and all the subcontractors signed up that they will form part of the commissioning plan. Okay, the systems manual itself, and this will be for enhanced commissioning. So it has a lot of the details, and it's very, very facilities oriented. So you're focusing on the capabilities of the operation, the maintenance team. The guys are actually going to try and maintain your building for you, and the operation side. So it deals with what the final OPR, the basis of design was, how the facilities will actually operate, the record maintenance procedures, schedules, and as I said, a lot of these are becoming very soft now, soft manuals instead of hard documentation, and through the likes of the CAFM systems, they actually have QR codes on the plant, which means that when the maintenance guys come to scan it, they have the information of the correct set points, all the relevant information they need when there's a problem. Then the ongoing, and this is probably a difference from the original version 3 2009, they've introduced, and this is where the verification end comes in. Even for fundamental, there's an operation and maintenance ongoing plan for plant. And again, these are live documents that the guys work. So I suppose in summary, the aim is that the commissioning process is the possibility to get 6 credits through enhanced commissioning, and for LEED Gold it's around 60 credits. So if you're hovering around 55, 56, it makes a difference to try and get that little bit higher. These are credits which actually fundamentally benefit the owner. My recommendation is, if at all possible, you train up someone in the owner's own employment team, either the maintenance crew or the operations crew, for this process, because it really does start to benefit, and we're speaking from an owner's perspective. Okay.